Alright, let's start with this. Imagine a film so radical, so ahead of its time, that it almost gets erased from history. Not because it's bad, but because it's too real, too raw, too unwilling to play nice. That's Welcome to the Terrordome, a 1995 Afrofuturist masterpiece by Ngozi Onwurah, the first British feature directed by a black woman. And honestly, the fact that this movie survived at all feels like a miracle. Let me explain why this film isn't just a relic, it's a warning, a prophecy, and maybe even a blueprint for understanding our world today. So picture this, a dystopian police state where the oppressed are trapped in a cycle of systemic cruelty. Sound familiar? But Onwurah doesn't just give us another grimy sci-fi flick. She layers in African folklore, black British identity, and the raw energy of 90s hip-hop. The opening scene. Enslaved people walking into the ocean instead of submitting to their captors. A nod to the Igbo legend that if you leave your ancestors' land, you'll return to it in death. But Onwurah flips it, these characters don't end up in Africa. They're stuck in the Terrordome, a purgatory of systemic racism, poverty, and surveillance. And here's the kicker, this film came out in 1995. It was already critiquing police brutality, mass incarceration, and cultural erasure decades before Black Lives Matter made those conversations mainstream. So why didn't this blow up globally? Why did it almost vanish? Well, let's unpack. First, the filmmaking itself is a revolution. Onwurah grew up in Nigeria, then moved to the UK, where she faced rampant racism. That duality, being caught between worlds, fuels the movie's entire vibe. She's mixing Yoruba mythology with the gritty realism of Taxi Driver, and the surreal horror of Apocalypse Now. The Terrordome isn't just a setting, it's a metaphor for the black diaspora's trauma. But here's what fascinates me, the film doesn't just show oppression. It feels it. The visuals are soaked in neon blues and feverish reds, bodies glisten with oil under harsh lights, and the soundtrack slams Public Enemy's Welcome to the Terrordome alongside haunting spoken word. This isn't passive storytelling, it's a confrontation. And yet, for 30 years, the film barely survived. Why? Because the original negative was lost when Technicolor went bankrupt. Imagine that, a landmark work of art nearly erased by corporate negligence. The restoration team had to work with second-rate prints, scratches and all. But when Onwurah saw the restored version, she was stunned. Those oily, glistening bodies in the kung fu scene. Details that had faded for decades were suddenly alive again. To me, that's symbolic. This film was always meant to shine, it just needed the world to catch up. Now, let's talk about why this matters now. The Terrordome isn't just a 90s dystopia, it's our reality. The film's rage over police violence, the grief of losing children to systemic neglect, the frustration of fighting a system designed to erase you, these aren't old themes. They're headlines. Onwurah herself says the Black Lives Matter movement made the film feel urgent again, but she's haunted by the fact that its nightmares still ring true. And that's what makes this film so chilling. It's not predicting the future, it's holding up a mirror to the past and present. The Terrordome isn't a fictional place. It's every city where redlining persists, every courtroom where justice is delayed, every community where survival feels like resistance. But here's the twist, Onwurah's vision isn't hopeless. By blending folklore and futurism, she's saying that survival isn't just endurance, it's creativity, it's reclaiming narratives, it's refusing to let your story be buried. The film's restoration isn't just about preserving art, it's about remembering that black stories have always been here, fighting to be seen. So what's the takeaway? Welcome to the Terrordome isn't just a rediscovered film. It's a wake-up call. It challenges us to ask, how many other voices have been silenced by history, by racism, by corporate apathy? And if this film's themes still resonate in 2024, what does that say about how far, or how little, we've come? Personally, I think the Terrordome isn't just a place in a movie. It's a lens to examine our world. And maybe, just maybe, understanding it is the first step to tearing it down.